Hello and welcome everyone to our next episode of Nintendo Red Cube, coming live to you here from Gamescom in Cologne, Germany. It's good to have you guys with us, but it's also pretty good to have you guys with me. So welcome to Chris from Nintendo of Europe.
Hello.
As well as Filippo from Nintendo of
Hello,
Europe.
everyone.
Hey guys, are you excited?
Yes, very
Because I
excited.
am.
Very excited, yes.
Okay, should we tell them what we are going to see right now?
Yes.
It's Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I'm super excited because I played Xenoblade Chronicles and I can't wait anymore. And I know that we're going to show something really new.
Yes, exactly. So we are going to take you all into a completely new area called Uraya. Filippo, can you just explain us how we got here?
Yes, so basically, just before this bit of storyline, we were swallowed by a gigantic titan. In the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, every living creature lives on top of these beasts that float on a sea of clouds. And normally you are on the back of the beasts outdoors. In this case, we are inside this titan, which looks very unique, I think. But I think we can dive into the gameplay straight away.
Maybe introduce the characters and, of course, also the blades.
Yes, so here we have Rex, this guy here, who is our main protagonist of the story, and his blade, Pyra. Then we have on the left side of the screen, we have Nia, and her blade, Dromark. And on the right-hand side of the screen, we have Tora, the Nopon, and his special blade, Puppy.
And maybe that's directly something that we need to explain a bit more, because I guess there are a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles fans out there, but for everyone who doesn't know about the franchise yet, so tell us, what is the connection between the driver and the blade?
So we don't want to get too much into
I know.
it, because it's a very important part in the storyline and we don't want to spoil too much, but what we can say now is that each blade is sort of the personification of a weapon that the driver is using. So the Rex, Nia, and are drivers, for example, and Pyra or Dromark are blades. So these are, as I said, these physical representation of the weapon that the drivers are using. They are not human beings, they are different kind of creatures, and the relationship between these two different species of beings plays a central role in the storyline.
And that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you for that.
Okay. So we are, as I said, here in Uraya. You can see that we are inside. This is a closed space. You can see up there are some openings, and when the sun will rise, we will see light filtering through from those.
Yeah, and you can already hear from the music that it's a very different feel to what we showed during E3, Gormoth, which was an open outside area, really a big space that you could see around. And here it is very much an enclosed space. The music reflects it. The mood is a bit darker, but it's very melancholious.
Yes.
And this area just is so vastly different, but also very beautiful.
Yes. So over the course of this hour of gameplay, we are going to focus specifically on gameplay, because the battle system has changed a lot compared to previous Xenoblade Chronicles games. It's much more streamlined. Everything is at the touch of a single button. Everything is either on the right, on the left Joy-Con, just one button away. But we have really a lot to go through, so I'll get right away into the battle. For this first battle, I would ask the viewers to focus on the lower right corner of the UI. And here we see all of my abilities, one of which is already charged, the other two are not active. I will approach the enemy and I will start attacking automatically, and you will see that the arts will start charging every time I swing my sword.
Go for it. Yeah, so at first sight there may not be so much change compared to how previous Xenoblade games worked, in the sense that you have an auto-attack pattern, you can walk around to position yourself better for an enemy, and you can attack with the different arts of a character, like what Filippo just described is shown in the bottom right corner.
Exactly, so each time I auto-attack, you'll see the white damage, and I attack in cycles of 3. So Rex will swing his sword 3 times and doing an increased damage with each swing. If I press one of the button on the Joy-Con, so you see those 3 arts that I have on the lower right, anchor shot, sword bash.
Yeah, and double spinning it.
Exactly. They're simply the X, Y, and B button on my right Joy-Con. So I press and I execute my art. And you see that then on the right corner where the A button would be, there's this Roman numeral 1. That's because auto attacks charge normal arts, and the normal arts that I'm using charge these special elemental arts, which I actually gonna show you now that this Piranhax aggroed us. So actually, no, it's been reset. So I'll just charge it up again and show it to you again.
Yeah, so basically you're using the normal arts to charge up the elemental art like what is now, and that's the heats that we're seeing.
Exactly. So now I'm going to press the A button, and if you actually look at Rex and Pyra, look at where the sword goes when I'm pressing the A button now. So Pyra uses the sword, I press the B button in time, and I apply an elemental effect to this Piranhax. Actually, his weakness is fire. We can see that where you see from Piranhax, there is a fire icon on the right. That means that this enemy is weak to fire. Also, you will notice that oops, I'm swimming now. You will notice that when I'm moving, I am not attacking. This is unlike previous Xenoblade Chronicles games in which you would auto-attack even when you were moving.
Yeah.
This is because positioning plays a much more plays a very big role in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And
what I find interesting about this is that positioning has always played an important role in Xenoblade games, because you have attacks like the sword bash that are stronger from the back, or double spinning edge, which is extra damage from the side. But in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, by having this system where when you move, you don't auto-attack, and when you stand still, you do increasing damage during auto-attacks. You constantly have to balance between being active or repositioning yourself to do more damage in the future.
Yes. Also, the healing system has changed in the sense that Xenoblade Chronicles games were not always. I mean, the healing part was they didn't want to focus. We want people to focus on the action, so the healing was always very particular, not the classic healing spell that you have in another RPG game. So in this game, you literally pull potions out of the enemy. So if I press the X button for the anchor shot, now you will see potion literally flying out of the enemy. And Nia, who is right now more healing-oriented, will automatically go and run to touch one of the potions if my characters are low on health. But I can do the same. I can just run and pick up the potion and heal my characters, but I will not attack in that moment. So this is a pattern that we start to see with many of the systems of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. There is always a cost. There is always a price to pay for everything you do.
Yeah, but at the same time, what I think the game does very well is that it makes this trade-off very visual.
Yes.
When you walk, you see that your character is not attacking. When you attack, you see that your character is not walking. And in all the systems that we will show later, we see that same kind of trade-off, and we see the same kind of visual explanation.
Yes, that's very right. So I'm just gonna... well, sorry, I need to collect. It's loot, I have to take it.
Of course.
So I think now we've explained a bit of the, let's say, lower right part of the UI, as I was saying.
Yeah.
So the auto attacks charge normal arts charge elemental arts, which can be leveled up to level 4 if I just don't press the button and just wait to keep charging them.
Yeah, and you will see that it goes from Roman numeral 1 to up until 4.
Yes.
So it again is very easy to see at which level you are.
Exactly. And now we focus on the lower left corner of the UI, where you see that I don't just have Pyra as blade for Rex. I also have Kaibyaku and Kisaragi. And you can see there are 3 blades, 3 different weapons, as you can see from the icon, sword, spear, and great axe, and 3 different elements, fire, wind, and ice. So you will see that as soon as I start attacking, the non-active blades will start charging up, and they just charge up over time. See the pink bar on their icon? I just need to wait long enough, and they will become active.
And until that, Pyra, of course, is active. So you're still very much using one of your blades.
Yes, exactly. And I am still, of course, performing my combos. By the way, if I press an art button just after a auto attack, you will see this blue circle on the screen, right? So now for example. This means that I comboed the art with the auto attack, so the elemental bar will charge up faster. But anyway, back to the lower right. Now the other, the
lower left.
The lower left. Sorry.
Yeah, no confusion.
The other arts are active. The other blades are active. So I just press, for example, right.
Please.
On the left. Right on
Just
the left
show it
Joy-Con?
on the Joy-Con, because what we can see is that both the bottom left and the bottom right correspond to the buttons on the Joy-Con. That's why Filippo is also clearly playing with two separate Joy-Con.
Exactly. So now I've changed to Kaibiaku, which is the element of wind with a spear. And you can see that as soon as I change, I will change now again to Kisaragi. If you look at the arts, they are all immediately active, and I can immediately execute my arts. Making combos with auto attacks and arts changes based on the weapon you have, because they swing at a very different rhythm. So the Great Axe is very slow, so it will make very big damage, very big swings, but I have to change completely my timing. Let's go over this again.
Yeah, shall we do one more
Yes.
just to recap it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because for everyone who played Xenoblade Chronicles before, this is so elegant, like you like to say.
Well, yeah, what I would say is people familiar with Xenoblade games will remember that arts are something which was in those games, and it was always sort of a bar that you had to scroll through. So you were using your time in battle often to scroll between the arts that had already charged and that you could actively use, and then wait for others to charge again. So a lot of your attention was spent on managing the bar. Now, what you can see is that because the arts of a blade are corresponding to dedicated buttons, and then the blades are also corresponding to dedicated buttons, it means that you actually have 3 normal arts and an elemental art per blade, times 3 blades, means that you have 9 arts plus 3 elemental arts just at the tip of your thumbs.
Yeah.
So it actually, on one hand, simplifies the system because you don't have to scroll through it anymore, but at the same time it also gives you the time to really pay attention to what is happening in the battle, instead of making sure that you select the right art, because those arts are already at your fingertips. And in that sense, it both simplifies it or streamlines it, but it also deepens the strategy because you have more time to think and to pay attention to the battles.
That's true. And on top of that, it really feels like a dance. And I'm really always watching the characters fighting this time instead of watching for bars to load, because I can clearly see them lighting up. I don't need to focus my attention on them. I'm always focusing on the battle. I never have to look away from the action, basically. So, something else that I wanted to show you. Let's do just one last fight over here. You might have seen already, while I was fighting before, there were not only my face down there when the elemental icon was attacked with heat, but sometimes also the portraits of Nia and the portraits of Tora would appear on the left and the right side of the screen. This is because I not only can command my character Rex to use an elemental art, but I can also command, for example, Tora to use stone, or Nia to use aqua, because their blades are water and stone elementals. So now I actually call for Tora, again with one button, ZL, to use his art, and you see then Poppy takes the weapon, this giant drill shield, and pushes back the enemy.
Nice.
Let's hope. That was a good big number, actually.
Yes. I like big numbers in RPG games. Everybody likes big numbers in RPG games.
Yeah, so what you can see now is all the way on the top, above Crabble, you can see stone. This is the element that was activated by the elemental art. And you actually now did the follow-up.
Yeah, I told Nia to use her elemental art, so she had already charged to level 2. And after stone came volcano, basically.
Yeah, and this is what you can see in the top right corner of the screen, where there is sort of a path of elements shown from the moment that you activate your first elemental art. We'll go into more details later when we have a stronger enemy that we have a bit more time to explain it. But this was just a primer.
Yes. So actually, let's go back down.
Time for a
And-
bit of exploration?
Yes,
Yes.
you need to show everything
So,
that is around.
first of all, now it's 5, it's already almost sundown, but you can see that those openings are letting much more light through.
Yeah.
And so the look of Uriah will change over the course of the day. Something that the development team told us as well is that their intention with... I'll just run away. Their intention with Uriah was also to make this area a bit dungeon-like.
Yeah.
So you actually have to find your own way around in order to traverse. Oh, that big crab guy, I'm just gonna stay away from him for now. And
Very good description.
Yes, yeah, it's a crabbo.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's
That's a big bird guy?
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's
right.
not. I mean, I've seen bigger birds in this game. For sure.
I wanted to say.
Yeah, but look at that vista in the distance. Look at the view. And this is one thing that I love about Uriah. Because the light is coming from the outside, you really get a lot of this sort of misty feel that you're really inside this huge cave-like structure with things hanging from the ceiling, with a lot of sort of like autumn-like foresty environments, and it's just a feeling of you get a bit silent. You just want to listen to the music.
And it also gives you the feeling of being very, very small compared
Yes.
to your surroundings.
Yes.
Yes.
The sense of scale is always a big thing, knowing Xenoblade Chronicles games. Also in the first one, you might remember like you're just walking on a plane, attacking like a cow-like enemy, and then all of a sudden a gigantic thing comes in and
just look how the lighting is now changing,
yes,
because the sun is going
the
down.
sun is going down, so it's the light is changing from is going away from the openings. By the way, our objective at the end of this presentation is to get to that city that you see in the distance, this beautiful castle with this gigantic staircase that we'll see later on from a bit closer. Also, something that's quite cool at night, those trees that were very autumnal, some of them become very pink, almost like sakura trees, the Japanese cherry blossom trees. And it looks really magical, I think. So let's move on, and let me just move the camera again, and let's take a good shot of everybody here. So we keep everybody in view, and the music as well is really nice. Oh, this guy,
Yeah,
again.
so
For
you're
now, I'm just
basically,
skipping.
because we just want to show a bit of the exploration, you're skipping and trying to run away from enemies that try to attack you, right? Because
Yes.
we've already focused a lot on the battle system.
Exactly.
And we will do so more later.
So actually, my objective now
Is to get away from this enemy first.
well, as the name says on top,
he's
he's
smart.
smart.
All right.
So we are here at the Farlane Central Pools, and I really like this big tree.
Yeah.
And these guys,
And,
for
and
example,
also those massive pollen just lying
yes,
around there.
which shines brighter at night.
Yeah.
This guy, for example, will not attack me unless I attack him first. I mean, he looks a bit like a herbivore, right? Kind of. Or I mean, he doesn't look very hostile. He looks cute and nice.
That's
And there are other enemies that, as you saw, as soon as they see me, they will attack me. In previous Xenoblade Chronicles games, there were icons on top of the enemies that pointed out if the enemy was naturally hostile or how he would attack the party. Here, that's not there anymore, but that's a specific choice made by the development team because they really want people to focus on exploring and remembering and learning by doing, learning by being in the world, basically, which enemy will attack you, which will not. Of course, these guys don't look very menacing. When you have like a big piranha with a full set of teeth looking at you, you know that probably the guy will attack you.
So then it's time for a detour. But I think now it's time to walk over there because there is this question mark.
Yeah, this is an optional quest. It's a side quest, and in this case, this side quest will automatically trigger as I approach, because these are probably the worst mercenaries in the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Yeah, this is great.
Well, they are surrounded by Ignas, these kind of lizard people. Well, are you okay? Rex is a kind guy, he just wants to help out. So Nia also, she's very much more into the action and doing instead of talking, so we'll take care of it. I got the quest, gotta start somewhere, aptly named. And let's set it as active, sure. And immediately we will start the fight with these 3 Ignas
Yeah, and
that are attacking us.
And what you can see here is that two of the Ignas are attacking Rex, and you can see that with the two orange indicators, whereas one of them is attacking Tora. And we want actually Tora to draw more attention because he has much higher health and also he's the tank of our party basically.
And you see, I lost the aggression of this enemy. Everybody's on Tora now. At the moment, sometimes Nia does too much damage, so she gets the aggression of the enemies. But at the moment, Tora is configured as a tank. He's more prone to this role, tank meaning getting all the hits and letting other people do the damage, so the healer can focus on him. And what's interesting is that the roles of these characters, the fact that Nia is a bit more healing oriented and more damage oriented, and Tora is more tanking oriented right now, they of course depend on the aptitude of these characters, but more than anything, they depend on the blades that I have equipped to the character. So because different blades bring different arts, like we saw before, I could have equipped blades that are more tanking oriented, for example, and I could make Rex become the tank instead. Or I could equip blades that are more healing oriented, and I could help Nia with healing, for example. So you really have the freedom to customize each character and each playstyle really to suit your needs.
Of course, really if you want.
If you want, of course.
Yeah. So
let me go.
What you can see again is auto attacks are charging the normal arts are charging the elemental arts, and then when we use the elements we can switch between different blades to get a good elemental combo going.
And I was telling before that there is this system of trade-offs. No, you do something at a cost. Now, for example, I could start with a level 4 because I charge it up to the maximum level, so it will do a lot of damage. I will do it now, and I will get a nice scene as well with Rex and Pyra attacking together, and
hopefully a big number, of course.
Of course. Well, I just destroyed him because he was almost dead, so the guy is gone now. So now we just complete the quest. It's another problem sorted out. There is obviously dialogue in the game. Some of the side quests, they are not voiced, but a lot of the game is voiced.
Yeah.
Basically, what happened, I'm just going to skip through the text a bit quickly for the sake of time. But what happened is that they are bodyguards. They were hired by an employer to protect him. They lost their client, basically, and now we have to find their client. So as I said, really very poor mercenaries here. There's also always an element of humor. Of course, there are serious themes, serious topics, but also an element of humor always in Xenoblade games. So let me just get rid of this guy, because I mean he's already here, and he disturbed me while I was talking.
Yeah, he was.
I'm not gonna forgive him.
And he was like, "Man, I think I need."
So maybe you can explain something about the break and topple system, Philippe.
Yes,
because that's one of the things that we know from previous Xenoblade games, but which comes back in a more expanded way.
Yeah. So break, topple are statuses of the enemy, like you see now. Basically, for break, you sort of damage their armor. So you have arts that put the enemy in break status for a very short time, and during that time you will do a little bit more damage. From break, if an enemy is in break, I can press anchor shot and have a topple effect. So the enemy will fall on the ground and will stop attacking and will get more damage. This was present also in previous Chronicles games. Now there are two new layers. After topple, I could launch, and I will try to do it now actually.
You can switch, yeah.
So I have Kisaragi as power swipe, which launches. So launch has this effect where the enemy is on the air and starts rolling. And there is a fourth layer, which is smash. When the enemy is in the air and rolling, I can smash him down to the ground for increased damage.
And one thing that I really loved about how you triggered this is that it actually shows what we have just been saying before. Because what you did was you used an art with Pyra to create the topple effect, and then you switch to a different blade and immediately use one of their arts to create a launch effect. So it's at the tip of two buttons instead of having the whole bar that you have to cycle through. So it shows how immediate this system is and how you use it for your convenience, but at the same time you use it to go one layer deeper than before.
Yes. Actually, I'm just gonna keep running, but I often had the problem in Xenoblade Chronicles 1 where an enemy was in break status and I wanted to put him in topple status, but by the time I reached the art palette, by the time I moved through the art palette and reached that part, the break effect was already gone, or the topple effect was already gone. So let me just go out of the combat here for a moment. Or not? This guy is ranged. He has a bow and arrow, so that's
a little bit further. He's very persistent.
Yeah. He really doesn't like me.
Wow.
He still has you marked?
Yes.
Well, maybe you can walk a little bit beyond. I mean, I think we might be back there at some point.
No, he's on the other side of the lake. Just walk away.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Finally.
Well, at least it gives us, again, another beautiful view
yes.
of Araya.
So, again, we start to see more this giant staircase and the city. The city is called Fonsamima, and that's where we want to go. But first, I said before, the developer told us that this area has a bit of a dungeon-like element.
Yeah.
So I already triggered some of these events in order not to show story cutscene that would spoil people. So the very first time that I got to this lake, that gate in the distance was closed. And the level of this lake was much higher. This waterfall was not a waterfall, it was actually blocked by some logs. What I did was a skill check. So my blades have certain skills that are innate abilities that they have. For example, Pyra has fire mastery, because obviously she's a fire elemental in a way. And I used this fire mastery to break that log that was over there, making the waterfall, creating that waterfall, making the level of the lake go down, and therefore allowing me to open that gate. And as I said, like really learning how to traverse in Araya is really important as well.
Well, and this again is one of those beautiful things, right? That's what it shows is it really retains the core of what makes previous Xenoblade games. You have a huge element of exploration, and you have a very deep combat and customization system.
Yes.
And what we've shown now is, of course, on the one side, how this combat system is more streamlined but also deepened. And on the other side, we're now also showing how the exploration is still very much there and also expanded on in a few subtle ways.
Yes. I mean, also, jumping and reaching a place that at the beginning seems impossible, some elements of light platforming are all elements that we've seen in previous Xenoblade Chronicles games and definitely play a role here as well. I will try now to find a pretty interesting fight. I hope I have to find a place where I want to drop down. And
yeah, you probably want to find a bit of water then.
yeah, let me see. This is kind of risky, but
I think it's
going to be good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well aimed.
Good. So I want to fight a big, unique monster that has lots of HP and will allow us to go through other systems as well of the gameplay. Because really it's layer upon layer upon layer of system. Oops.
Yeah, and that's basically what we're doing now, right? We're trying to... Oh. Ansels are not fun.
Ansels are not fun. Should I fight?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Ooh.
Right.
Ooh. I hope that Tora gets the aggro quickly. Because he's level 24 and Ansels are big and do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So, fortunately, Nia is ready for the healing.
Yeah, maybe we want to get a potion over there in the distance.
Nia will get it automatically if my characters are low on health. I don't need to get it myself.
Ah, she's so nice.
Yes. Well, actually, she's quite a character. She's a very nice character, I think, in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and she definitely has an attitude, I think. So, we could talk a bit about elemental combos and how to connect them together, right?
Yeah.
So now, you see both, all of my characters have an elemental art available.
Start with stone?
Yes, let's start with stone with Tora. And now, please focus on the top right corner of the screen. You see that this thing that appears up there, it's sort of like a path. I executed a level 1 stone art. Now I will execute Volcano with Nia, which is a level 2 fire art, and I will go up this path. Oh, he died.
But we're going to see it with the next enemy.
Yes, exactly. We're on our way to the enemy that
Yeah.
will really allow us to go in depth about that, because it's a very strong enemy. I think you have to probably go.
No. I cannot go up from there. I have to go around.
Well, then let's just explore a little bit more, right?
Yes. Oh, this is a Brog, which is those gigantic poisonous toads.
Yeah,
that
you have a bit of
found.
a feud with them, right?
Yeah, I don't
Historically,
particularly, I
you
don't particularly like them because they apply a lot of very nasty effects on the characters. This that looks like a beautiful flower is actually a gigantic carnivorous plant that will pop out from the ground and try to eat us. So let's move away from that too.
So there's enough hazards around.
Yes. And we're actually have to find the right place to jump from.
Excellent.
And we're
Oh, there's
actually,
Ragi again.
yeah. So let me try to go back up. Sorry for the repetition.
To be honest, I mean, we haven't seen this area before, so I don't think it's such a bad thing to see some more of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this again is also one of those things in Xenoblade, right? That in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, these areas, they are massive. So that means that finding your way through involves revisiting and re-exploring certain parts of the environment and really trying to see the clever paths through so
Or
that you don't
collect,
get attacked by enemies all the time, like what is happening now.
It's okay.
You can dive into
know
the
it by
water.
now, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did a mistake before in jumping in the water. I should have simply gone for another route, actually. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
And another thing that we're going to see as well is that,
Can you
of
just-
course,
that's
the
what I
enemies
should
are
have
going to use different abilities as well, and it's not just about like using your own abilities to damage them, but also to like avoid their abilities.
Exactly. So there are some certain characters that really sometimes do massive damage.
Yeah.
And you want to definitely stop them from executing certain some of their abilities.
Yeah, and also one thing that you can already see now is one of these unique feelings of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is that some enemies might seem small, but they're actually quite strong, like
Yes.
the ones that are attacking Filippo now. But also, you always encounter these massive enemies, these very intimidating big enemies, and it gives you sort of a sense of humility in the place where you are. You have a certain role in the ecosystem, and you are not the biggest, strongest character around.
Exactly.
So by playing through the game, you sort of you become stronger, and you become more important within that environment, and you start to become more confident in taking on stronger enemies. Like for instance, Filippo
Here it is.
now at the point where he's confident enough to take on the cunning Sagi.
Which is a level 24 unique monster, so of course it will do a lot of damage, but also he has enough HP, so you see him scratching on the ground.
Yeah,
with
he's
his
going
feet.
to use that more.
Yes, definitely he's going to use that. We saw it earlier.
All right, so let's just go for the full cycle now. We start on the bottom right corner using arts to charge up elemental arts.
Yes. And what I want to do is stop this enemy from using blowdown. He has this ability where all of my characters fall on the ground, they stop attacking, they lose their turns, they lose their chains, and it's just then generally an overall very nasty thing.
Yeah.
So my first objective is to stop him from using it. You see how we pushed away Nia completely. So to do that, I need to charge up my elemental arts. My objective now is to charge up my elemental art to level 3. Which
So I guess you could already maybe switch to Kaibaku.
It's just because Nia is faster in like the swing of the sword is faster, so I'll charge up as much as I can with her. So now I'm at level 3. Let's try to start this. So level 1 stone with Thora. There you go. Now level 2 fire Volcano with Mia. There
Yeah,
we
and
go.
you can see the gauge from stone will change into a gauge from volcano.
Yeah.
And that shows you how much time you have left to execute what is in the top right corner.
So now I have level 3 wind. I can go up the path and do a seal blowdown. So I will stop, after doing this, I will stop the enemy from using the blowdown ability. Volcanic Storm. Excellent. And bam, big number.
That was a huge number, I would say. That was a very, very satisfying role-playing game number.
Yes. So you see that now on the top right corner the text seal blowdown appears. The enemy will not be able to use blowdown anymore, basically.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a green orb is floating around Cunning Sagi. And that means that because the last art I used was wind, that means that now wind does less damage to this enemy from this moment on.
Yeah, so again, this is a risk and reward system, right? A balancing act. Yeah, the trade-off that when you go for a huge number, for a lot of damage, and you use, for instance, a wind elemental art for that, it means that after that, going for the same path will give you a lower reward. So basically what you want to do is you want to build in a variation into your attack pattern, like what Filippo is doing now. He's triggered an ice art, and now probably you want to do another ice.
I'm trying to do, yeah, exactly. I'm trying to do level 2 ice with, I just have to need to wait for Kisaragi to be active again.
Exactly. Well, you have enough time.
Yes.
So we can see in the top of the screen above Cunning Sagi's name that the ice bar is going down, and we see in the bottom left that Kisaragi is now ready to be switched in.
And freeze. You see also how the names of all of these arts change based on the path that I'm doing. Yep. So now I do a level 3 with...
Let's just take 1 second to show that in the top right corner you can now see that it goes from ice to either
darkness or stone.
Darkness or stone, exactly. So now...
Permafrost Crash! I like the names.
Great animation.
Bam!
That was definitely
you see
cool.
the ice, like, I like how...
Whoa, 19,000!
Yeah, I did a lot of damage there. But now you see that I have 2 orbs floating on the enemy. Now the enemy is resistant to wind and is resistant to stone. So now we have the final layer for now of this demonstration of the gameplay. Now we look top left. Top left there is this white bar of 3 segments. I can use each one of these segments to revive my characters when they fall, when they die, if they lose all of their HP. But again, I can instead press plus to execute chain attacks.
Yeah, and
I completely use this bar.
And chain attacks are again something from previous Xenoblade games, but it's now very different because it's again expanded on.
So now I can break, I can burst these 2 orbs that I have applied that the enemy has to reset his resistance.
Yeah.
Now I control all of my guys at the same time.
So on the bottom right side you see which elemental art you could use.
Yes.
Again to break through these orbs.
I think I will use ice now.
Yeah.
Ice is opposite to wind in this game. So if I use the opposite element, you see wind is flashing. I need to Kisaragi is performing a move, and the wind element is almost burst. Now I only have Poppy on Tora, so I use Poppy, of course. And I use now fire.
Yeah, it doesn't matter so much.
Yeah, it doesn't matter so much at this point. Let me just use fire because I like the guy with the blade and its animation.
Nice.
So now you can see that both of them are cracked but not burst.
Yes, exactly.
So they are still around. So actually we failed in our mission to get rid of these elemental orbs because we want now it really limits us in doing a lot of damage.
Yes.
Because now the Cunning Sagi has extra resistance to both wind and earth. So what we want to do is build up this chain attack gauge again.
Yes.
Filippo, how do you build up the chain attack gauge?
By attacking, by executing arts, and by attacking effectively, by performing combos.
So basically by staying active.
Yes.
Well, in the meantime, you have already activated heat, so you could go for another...
I'll try to burn out now.
So you used a fire art, which means we go up in the path.
Yes, and now I can only do a level 3 fire, which I hope Nia will charge up soon, because I definitely will not have the time to do that. Oh, he's calling allies as well. He's calling additional enemies to join the fight, which is I would say definitely not what I want. Also, because I changed the path now, you can blow down again.
Yeah, because now the seal is on shackle driver instead of on blowdown.
Yes.
So
but anyway, let me just go back to the chain attack. If I manage to burst those two arts, I could have actually kept going with my chain attack. Sometimes you get a prompt, and if you press the button at the right moment, you can keep chaining, basically, and you can keep going from character to character that you control. I didn't manage at that time.
This was a very smooth fight, and it's incredible that you've been able to show 2 elemental orbs appearing.
Yes.
But can you just give us a nice overview shot so that we can briefly recap what just happened? So we used auto attacks to charge arts. We used arts to charge elemental arts. We used the elemental arts of different blades to go up into an elemental path. And by having a level 3 elemental art going, we did the elemental orb on an enemy, and then we used a chain attack to break the orb, so that we could basically start from 0 again and start doing a lot of damage again. So you can really see how all these systems tie into each other, but because they're all made visual and they're all at the tip of a finger, it means that it becomes very easy to understand how you trigger all of this. It really is a path. It's sort of, you're going up one step towards the ladder of awesomeness.
Yeah, and it also feels like, well said, it also feels like, even for my friends who will be joining me when I will play it, it will be easier for them to understand what I do. I remember back in the days when I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles, they were like struggling to follow what I was doing, actually. And this time it's much clearer. And
also, by the way, imagine doing all of this like on the bus with your Switch. That's also why you might seem the UI is quite big, because you also have to be able to play it comfortably in portable mode.
Exactly, and I mean, just imagine having this massive game in your fingertips when you're sitting on the bus or in a train or in a plane. It's really, it will give you so many beautiful moments, and you also have all those moments that you can spend with it.
Yeah. By the way, here we see something quite interesting. These are drivers themselves with their own blades, and that guy level 25 is a unique one that will kill me in about 3 hits, so I'm not gonna start this fight. But what I wanted to say is just that, see, we have 3 blades and 3 drivers, and they can do everything that I can do. So even though they're not gigantic monsters, they are really scary and really dangerous.
Yeah, so basically in this world you are not the only ones who have this connection between drivers and blades.
No, it's a common thing. It's not common. I mean, of course, drivers are rare people that have this ability, but you find not just you find many other people, again, entire armies of them.
This staircase, it's just so impressive, right?
Yeah, so you see, I couldn't have gone up from the staircase because it actually dives deeper into the underground, and the edges are too high, I cannot jump on that. But I just want to show you. Wow. Just we are much closer now to the city.
Because from where did we come?
From behind there. And actually, there's one guy that I can show you, if you can see that gigantic sea snake next to the tree.
Yeah, he's just chilling above his water there.
And just like in other Xenoblade Chronicles game, if I dive down there, all of the enemies will not be around my level, 20, 21, 19, 25. No, they will be, what did you see?
70?
Yeah, exactly. Like from 35 to 70 something. Yeah, for now we stay here. But this is also an element typical of Xenoblade Chronicles games, that it is a living environment with its own fauna and flora, with its own ecosystem.
Well, and because of that, it's also an environment that tells a lot of stories simply by being there.
Yes.
Because these enemies, like what you were saying, we had this special enemy which is extra strong and which was sort of like digging at the tree. So immediately, also one of the things you wonder is, why is it digging with its claws at the tree? Well, we didn't show it, but there was actually also something to find there.
Yes, there were actually, there was a collection point with a skill check where I needed to have the proper blades equipped to be able to dig something from there. You're right. So now, of course, for the viewers at home, it looks pretty dark now, the image, because we are in an enclosed space, it's night, the light is not filtering from the openings on the Titan. but it's really to create this moody atmosphere. You see, like this would be the big opening that filters, that has lots of light.
Yeah, it would be completely bright during the day, and it dims off during the night. And what I personally like about it is that for me it also gives this feeling that not only are we inside a living environment, but also this Titan itself is traveling.
Absolutely.
Also, yes, he's moving, and the sea of clouds on which all of these creatures are floating has tides that change. They go higher and they go lower, so you could really actually have different parts of an area that become explorable. And here we actually see, yeah. So
I was waiting for you to show it. It's so beautiful.
This big organic sort of vehicle is itself a Titan, a smaller one. That this is, in a way, the transportation system of the game is that people are using smaller Titans as taxis to go from one big one to the other.
I'm sensing a theme here, because earlier today we were talking about Jaxies, and now we're talking about, which were Jaguar taxis, and now we're talking about taxis because they are Titan taxis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Fair
bad,
enough.
not
Fair
bad.
enough. Yeah.
I'm not sure which one I will prefer, but I think for now this one is a bit more impressive.
You want to color the wings, you
Maybe
mean?
it's even easier to steer. So.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. And here we see where we were. Let me just go into Fonsamima.
Yeah, exactly. I think we have another spot there as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So where are we getting in now, Filippo?
So Fonsamima is this big medieval fantasy castle town, and you'll see that as soon as I enter, there's tons of NPCs. These are all vendors, like a fishmonger, a butcher, a baker, just here at the entrance. There's tons of people I can talk to and discover new things about the world and trigger quests. There's vendors of accessories for my characters, and I think...
And this is a layer of the game that we're not really going to touch today, because we focus so much
yeah.
on the battle system.
But look how big this city is. I mean, I have actually never even been here before. I just discovered the staircase. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
It's a back alley, so let's avoid it for now.
Exactly.
We want to stay safe. I mean, we've already overcome many challenges. I mean, we've already overcome
for now, yeah.
very, very dangerous enemies. So let's just go for the safe route now.
And we want other players to explore it by themselves.
Exactly.
See, then you have characters talking to each other. There's you see all of these posters on the walls.
Yeah.
And that's because this is a theater.
Oh.
And if I talk to the people around here, they will talk about, this one actress in this, and she's a stunner. Yeah.
So this is something that Filippo never showed to me, even.
I want to keep some surprises, not just for the viewers, but also for you. Like, I want to keep you on your toes and have you sweat on, like, oh, is he going to do something we're not allowed to?
No, that was actually a beautiful thing. It's really cool.
So here we are at the top of Fonsamima, with this big, gigantic gate behind us, and it's just midnight now. So, the version is, by the way, it's not finished. Obviously, the game it's still being developed by our developers in Japan, by Monolith Studios, and
they're working hard to get it done in time, and it's shaping up beautifully.
Yes.
I mean, I was so excited that we were able to show Uraya, because it is such a different feel than what we've shown so far with Gormoth, and at the same time it allowed us, and mainly Filippo of course, to go into this detail of the layered combat system.
Yes. And here we see, actually, if you look far into the distance, that's where we came from. This is the big staircase that we saw in the distance.
Yeah.
And here we are at the top of Fonsamima. And you see how also this castle town has been built considering the structure of the world. Like, it's been built
on the Titan.
On the Titan,
yeah.
and in a way, living creatures on the Titan respect where they live, and they try to work with, let's say, the geography and the landscape of the Titan.
I think
so let's actually line up our cast.
Yeah, for a final group picture, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm aligning. Yeah.
There we are.
They fit in my frame.
And here we have our current party members: Rex and Pyra, Nia and Dromark, Tora and Poppy, which will be surely my companions for hundreds of hours when the game finally releases at the end of the year in winter.
And I'm so excited not just to play this on TV, but mainly also to be able to take it anywhere so that I can really sink in all those hours and explore Uraya, Gormoth, and many more places.
Yeah,
definitely.
It really breaks my heart. I think I will miss these guys a lot, but it's not that long anymore. I think we just have to wait a little bit.
Yes.
And then we are finally able to get our hands on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So thank you very much, guys, for showing us around.
It was
the
a pleasure.
world.
It's always a pleasure.
Especially
Very much a pleasure.
the new area, Uraya.
It's so great.
It's
I can't wait for it. So thank you very much to you guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, also thank you very much to everyone here at Gamescom attending our demonstration, and thank you very much to you guys at home tuning in through the live stream. We're going to be back later on that day, and I hope you guys will still be with us. So stay tuned for more and tune in again. See you later.